Good day po! Here is our action research entitled Utilizing Pamphlets as an Additional Instructional Material in Teaching Junior High School Students. Chapter 1, Context and Rationale. Face-to-face learning engagement of students and teachers with school has been suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has paved the way to the implementation of modular distance learning as an urgent response to ensure continuity of education. Unfortunately, students are tired of reading plenty of modules. In connection with this, the researchers think of a proposed solution to this problem to aid students in answering their modules. And pamphlets are small and bound booklet that is used to advertise or provide information in any single subject. It will help learners to understand their lessons in an easy, brief, and clear manner. Let's proceed to research questions. This action research will be conducted to determine if utilizing pamphlet can help as an additional instructional material for junior high school students of Nueva University of Science and Technology Laboratory High School in Gabaldon, Nueva Ecija. Specifically, the study will seek to answer the following questions. First, what are the factors affecting students' will to read the pamphlet? Second, how may the attitudes of the learners toward utilizing pamphlet can be described? Third, is there significant difference between the pre-survey and post-survey of the learners? And four, is utilizing pamphlet effective as an additional instructional material? The study will be guided by the following hypothesis. There is significant difference between the pre-survey and post-survey in learning the lessons of the learners. And second, pamphlet is effective in improving the learning comprehension of junior high school students. So this is the results and discussion of grade 7.
Table 1 shows that students agreed that the mobile addiction affects their will to read the modules, as well as they are less motivated and lazy. Students are emotionally disturbed to read the modules, and students answer that peer pressure affects their willingness to read the modules. An environmental problem and household chores also affects their will to read modules. They agreed that modules are lengthy, while they disagreed that modules are unclear, and they have lack of interest reading the modules. The total weighted mean is 2.58, and the verbal interpretation is agree. Table 2 shows that students disagree with gaining more knowledge through reading modules, but they agree that using modules can easily understand their lesson. Most of them cannot easily answer the modules, but they can focus more on their studies. This table also shows that they are more willing to read the lesson and also improve their performance in online participation, as well as it avoid procrastination. They are also not satisfied with reading modules. The total weighted mean of effectiveness of utilizing modules can be interpreted as 2.60 and verbal description of agree. Table 3 shows that students mostly feel motivated in reading pamphlets. They agree that these instructional materials give excitement while reading. Based on them, they are not comfortable with reading the pamphlets. Students feel overwhelmed and they enjoy reading the pamphlets. It also shows that using pamphlets is annoying and they feel boring. They also agreed that reading pamphlets causes stress and they feel hesitant, but they are not discouraged. The total weighted mean of attitude towards utilizing modules can be interpreted as 2.56 and verbal description of agree.
Table 4 showed that students agreed that mobile addiction, laziness, household chores, and the pamphlets are lengthy, affect their willingness to read the pamphlets, while less motivated, emotionally disturbed, peer pressure, and environmental problems. The pamphlets are unclear and lack of interest did not affect their will to read the pamphlets. The total weighted mean of factors affecting student will to read the pamphlets is 2.51 and the verbal description of agree. Table 5 show that students gain more knowledge by reading the pamphlets. They can easily understand the lesson and also answer the pamphlets. Student can focus more on their studies. Student get high score and feel more determined to study the lesson. Students are more willing to read the lesson. Their performance in online class participation is improved. It's avoid their procrastination and students are more satisfied with reading pamphlets. The total weighted mean of effectiveness in utilizing pamphlet is 3.28 and the verbal description is strongly agree. Table 6 shows that students feel motivated by reading the pamphlets. It gives them excitement by reading the lesson and comfortable reading the pamphlets. They are also overwhelmed and enjoy reading the pamphlets. They did not agree that reading the pamphlets is annoying and felt bored reading them. Also, they are not anxious and hesitant to read the pamphlets. However, they agreed that they are discouraged and the total weighted mean of attitude toward utilizing pamphlet is 2.68 and the verbal description of agree.
Table 7 shows that the attitude towards utilizing modules and pamphlets and factors affecting students' will to read modules and pamphlets has no significant difference, while the effectiveness of utilizing modules and pamphlets in effectiveness, the module has a mean 2.6 and in pamphlets has a mean 3.28. The t-stat is negative 9.47 and p-value of 4.48. And there is a significant difference. In attitude, the module has a mean of 2.57 while in the pamphlets is 2.68. The t-stat is 0.09 and p-value of 0.19 and has no significant difference. The factors have a mean of 2.58 in the module and in pamphlets is 2.15. The t-stat is 0.05 and p-value of 0.56 and has no significant difference.
And for the discussion, students agreed that mobile addiction, laziness, household chores, and the modules are lengthy are the factors that affect the willingness to read the pamphlets. On the other hand, less motivated, emotionally disturbed, peer pressure, environmental problems, pamphlets are unclear, and lack of interest does not affect the student willingness to read. In terms of the attitude of the student toward utilizing pamphlets, students stated that they feel motivated by reading the pamphlets. It gives them excitement forward the lesson and more comfortable discouraged. In data showed that students disagreed that reading pamphlets is annoying, being bored reading the pamphlets. Few answer in reading the pamphlets and feel hesitate to read the pamphlets.
There is a significant difference between the answer of the respondents in the pre-survey and in the post-survey. The result shows that utilizing pamphlets as additional instructional materials, the total weighted mean is 3.28, verbal is strongly agree. In the modules, total weighted mean is 2.60 with a verbal description of agree. It implies that students can learn better when they use pamphlets. It helps them to better understand the lesson, which is very important to their study. Conclusion: the attitude towards utilizing pamphlets and factors affecting the willingness to read has no significant difference, while the effectiveness of utilizing pamphlet has a significant difference. They are more interested in reading the pamphlets than reading their modules. They have a strong and positive attitude towards using pamphlets as instructional materials for their lessons. The study also shows that students have different factors affecting their willingness to read the modules and the pamphlet. It implies that students have different ways on how to get their willingness to read the materials depending on the materials that they need. The result also shows that utilizing pamphlet is an effective additional instructional material in teaching junior high school students based on their answer of the student. It shows that they can learn better when they use pamphlets rather than when using modules in studying their lesson.
Results and discussions of grade 8. Table 1 shows that students disagreed to gain more knowledge by reading the modules. They cannot easily understand the lesson using module. They cannot easily answer the activities in the modules. They cannot focus more on their studies. They cannot get high scores. They do not have determination to study the lesson. They are not more willing to read the lesson using modules. Modules does not improve students' performance in online class participation. They do not feel more satisfied in reading modules, and modules do not avoid them procrastination. The total weighted mean of effectiveness of utilizing modules is 2.14, which can be interpreted as disagreement. Table 2 shows that learners do not feel motivated in reading modules. They are not comfortable in reading modules. They are not enjoying in reading modules. On the other hand, students agree that modules give them excitement. They feel overwhelmed. They are annoyed, they feel bored, they feel anxious, they feel hesitant, and they feel discouraged. The total weighted mean of attitudes towards utilizing module is 2.61, which can be interpreted as agreement. Table 3 shows that laziness is not a factor that affects students' will in reading modules. On the other hand, mobile addiction, being less motivated, being emotionally disturbed, having peer pressure, experiencing environmental problems, and doing household chores are factors that affect students' will in reading the modules, as well as the modules are lengthy, the modules are unclear, and they have lack of interest. The total weighted mean of factors affecting students to read the module is 2.83, which can be interpreted as agreement. Table 4 shows that students agreed that they have gained more knowledge by reading the pamphlets. They can easily understand the lesson, they can easily answer the activities, they can focus more on their studies using pamphlets, they got high scores with the help of pamphlets, they feel more determined to study the lesson. Pamphlets improve students' performance in online class participation, and they feel more satisfied in reading pamphlets, and pamphlets avoid them to procrastinate. Also, students agree that they are more willing to read the lesson using pamphlet. The total weighted mean of effectiveness of utilizing pamphlet is 3.09, which can be interpreted as agreement. Table 5 shows that the learners are not annoyed in reading pamphlets. They do not feel bored reading pamphlets. They do not feel anxious. They are not hesitant to read the pamphlets, and they do not feel discouraged. On the other hand, students agreed that they feel motivated in reading pamphlets. It gives excitement to read the lesson. They are more comfortable in reading the pamphlets. They feel overwhelmed and they enjoy reading the pamphlets. The total weighted mean of attitudes towards utilizing pamphlet is 2.62, which can be interpreted as agreement. Table 6 shows that students agree that mobile addiction, being less motivated, laziness, being emotionally disturbed, having peer pressure, having environmental problems, doing household chores, the pamphlets are lengthy, the pamphlets are unclear, and lack of interest affect students' will in reading pamphlet. The total weighted mean of factors affecting students' will to read a pamphlet is 2.78, which can be interpreted as agreement. Table 7 shows that there is significant difference in effectiveness in utilizing modules and pamphlets. In terms of effectiveness, module has a mean of 2.144, while pamphlet has a mean 3.097. This also shows that there is no significance between attitudes and factors in utilizing modules and pamphlets. In the student's attitude toward utilizing module, it has a mean 2.608, while pamphlet has a mean of 2.619. In factors affecting students' will to read a module, it has a mean 2.827, while reading the pamphlet has mean 2.775. It shows that the students have significant difference in terms of effectiveness of utilizing modules and pamphlets, and there is no significant difference in terms of attitudes and factors affecting their will of utilizing modules and pamphlets. Based on the above results, this is the discussion for grade 8 students. Students agreed that mobile addiction, being less motivated, laziness, being emotionally disturbed, having peer pressure, environmental problems, doing household chores, pamphlets that are lengthy, unclear pamphlets, and lack of interest are those factors that affect their willingness to read the said material. It implies that when they are using their mobile phones, it will distract them in reading their pamphlets, as well as when they have to do their household chores. Also, the content and the quality of the material and their interest will possibly affect their willingness to read the module. In terms of the attitudes of the students toward utilizing pamphlets, they said that they feel motivated in reading pamphlets and it gives them excitement to read it. They are more comfortable in reading the pamphlet than reading modules. They also feel overwhelmed with pamphlets and they enjoy reading it. On the other hand, they disagree that they feel annoyed in reading pamphlets and they do not feel bored with it. They do not feel anxious and do not feel hesitant to read the pamphlets. This implies that students have more interest in reading the pamphlets than reading their module. They have strong and positive attitude towards using pamphlets as an instructional material for their lessons. There is no significant difference between the answers of the respondents in the pre-survey and in the post-survey in terms of attitudes and factors affecting students' will. It shows that students' attitude towards utilizing pamphlet is the same in utilizing modules in learning their lesson. It also shows that there are the same factors affecting their will when reading modules and pamphlets. The study also shows the effectiveness of utilizing the pamphlets in the learning of the students. It helped them to learn easier and better. The results show that pamphlet is an effective additional instructional material. The total weighted mean is 3.09, which can be interpreted as agreement. On the other hand, module has total weighted mean of 2.14, which can be interpreted as disagreement. It implies that students can learn better when they use pamphlets. It helps them to better understand the lesson, which is very important in their studies. In conclusion, there is a significant difference in the effectiveness of utilizing modules and pamphlets. They are more interested in reading the pamphlets than reading the module. They have strong and positive attitude towards using pamphlets as an instructional material and module for their lesson. The study also shows that students have the same factors affecting their willingness to read the modules and the pamphlets. The results also show that utilizing pamphlet is an effective additional instructional material in teaching junior high school students based on the answers of the students. It shows that they can learn better when they use pamphlets rather than when using module in studying their lesson.
Good day, everyone. So, here are the results of our research from grade 9 respondents. So, let us first have the findings. Table 1 shows that the students disagreed that they gain more knowledge by reading modules. So, it has a weighted mean of 2.09. They cannot easily understand the lesson using module. So, it has 2.33. They cannot easily answer the activities, 2.39. They cannot focus more on their studies, 2.15. They didn't get high scores with the help of modules, so it also has 2.15. They didn't feel more determined to study lessons using modules, so it has 2.0. They are not more willing to read the modules. 1.97. Modules did not improve their performances in online class participation. So it has 2.24. They do not feel more satisfied in reading modules. It has 2.0. And it do not avoid them to procrastinate, which has 2.15. So the weighted mean in total is 2.15, which can be interpreted as disagreement. So here is the table for the effectiveness of utilizing the module. So as you can see, all the verbal interpretations are disagree. Next, we have the table number 2. It shows that the students disagreed that they feel motivated in reading modules. It does not give them excitement to read the modules. They are not comfortable in reading the modules. They disagreed that they feel overwhelmed with the modules, but they agreed that they enjoy reading modules, they feel annoyed in reading modules, they feel bored with the modules, they feel anxious in reading this material, and they feel hesitant with it. And at the same time, they also feel discouraged. So the weighted mean in total is 2.67, which can be interpreted as agreement. So here is the table for the attitude of the students towards utilizing module. Next, table 3 shows that students agreed that mobile addiction affects their will to read the module, as well as being less motivated, being lazy, emotionally disturbed, peer pressure, environmental problems. On the other hand, students disagreed that household chores affect their will to read modules. It shows that modules that are lengthy affect their will to read the modules, as well as unclear modules and their lack of interest in reading it. So the rated mean in total is 2.78, which can be interpreted as agreement. So table number 3. So it is about the factors affecting students' will to read the module. So most of them agreed that these factors affect their willingness to read the module. Okay, so let's move on to table number 4, which shows that the students strongly agreed that they gain more knowledge by reading pamphlets. They can easily understand the lesson using pamphlet, and they agreed that they can easily answer the activities, they can focus more on their studies, and they got high scores with the help of pamphlets. They also feel determined to study lessons using pamphlets, and they are more willing to read the lesson. They also agreed that pamphlets improve their performances in online class participation, and they feel more satisfied in reading it. And it also avoids them to procrastinate. So the weighted mean in total is 3.23, which can be interpreted as agreement. So here is the table number 4, which is about the effectiveness of utilizing the pamphlet. So most of the answers are agree and also strongly agree. Okay, so table number 5. It shows that students agreed that they feel motivated in reading pamphlets. It gives them excitement to read the pamphlets, and they are comfortable in reading the pamphlet. They also agreed that they feel overwhelmed with this material, and they agreed that they enjoy reading it. On the other hand, they disagreed that they feel annoyed in reading pamphlets and that they do not feel bored. They do not feel anxious in reading pamphlets and not feel hesitant to read the pamphlets. And also, they are not discouraged. So, the weighted mean in total is 2.55, which can be interpreted as agreement. So, here is the table number 5, which is about the attitude towards utilizing pamphlet. So table 6 shows that students agreed that mobile addiction affects their will to read the pamphlets, as well as being lazy, doing household chores, pamphlets that are lengthy, unclear pamphlets, and the lack of interest. On the other hand, students disagreed that being less motivated affect their will to read the modules, being emotionally disturbed, peer pressure, and the different environmental problems. So the weighted mean in total is 2.55, which can be interpreted as agreement. So here is a table number 6, which is about the factors affecting students' will to read the pamphlet. The last table, table number 7, which shows that there is significant difference between effectiveness, attitudes, and factors in utilizing modules and pamphlets. So in terms of effectiveness, module has mean of 2.148 while pamphlet has 3.233. In the student's attitude toward utilizing module, it has mean of 2.672 while pamphlet has mean of 2.545. In factors affecting students' will to read the module, it has 2.781 while reading pamphlet has 2.551. It shows that students have significant differences in terms of the effectiveness, attitudes, and factors that affects their will of utilizing modules and pamphlets. So here is the table for the comparison of the effectiveness, attitudes, and factors in utilizing modules and the pamphlets. So there are significant differences in each factors. So let us move on to the discussion. So students agreed that mobile addiction, doing household chores, pamphlets that are lengthy, unclear pamphlets, and lack of interest are those factors that affect their willingness to read the said material. It implies that when they are using their mobile phones, it will distract them in reading their pamphlets as well as when they have something to do in their houses. Also, the content and the quality of the material and their interests will possibly affect their willingness to read the module. So it is supported by the study of Remanente 2020. On the other hand, being less motivated, being emotionally disturbed, peer pressure, and the different environmental problems are not the factors that affect their will in reading the material, which is the pamphlet. So, in terms of the attitudes of the students toward utilizing pamphlets, they said that they feel motivated in reading pamphlets and it gives them excitement to read it. They are more comfortable in reading the pamphlet than reading modules. They also feel overwhelmed with pamphlets and they enjoy reading it. On the other hand, they disagreed that they feel annoyed in reading pamphlets and they do not feel bored with it. They do not feel anxious and they do not feel hesitant to read the pamphlets. This implies that students have more interest in reading the pamphlets than reading their module. They have a strong and positive attitude towards using pamphlets as an additional instructional material for their lessons. So it is supported by the study of Calderero 2021. So there is a significant difference between the answers of the respondents in the pre-survey and in the post-survey. It shows that students' attitude towards utilizing pamphlet is stronger and more positive than in utilizing modules in learning their lessons. The factors that affect students' willingness to read modules and pamphlets also describe significant difference. It shows that there are different factors affecting their will when reading modules and pamphlets. The study also shows the effectiveness of utilizing the pamphlets in the learning of the students. It helped them to learn easier and better. So, it also supported by the study of Namazian Dost from 2020. So the results show that pamphlet is an effective additional instructional material. The weighted mean in total is 3.23, which can be interpreted as agreement. On the other hand, module has a weighted mean of 2.15, which can be interpreted as disagreement. So it implies that students can learn better when they use pamphlets. It helps them to better understand the lesson, which is very important in their studies. So it is from also from Heart in 2021. So let's have now the conclusion and recommendation. So for the conclusion, there is a significant difference in the effectiveness, attitudes, and factors affecting students' will of utilizing modules and pamphlets. They are more interested in reading the pamphlets than in reading their module. They have strong and positive attitude towards using pamphlets as an additional instructional material for their lessons. The study also shows that students have different factors affecting their willingness to read the modules and the pamphlet. It implies that students have different ways on how to get their willingness to read the materials depending on the materials that they are reading. The results also show that utilizing pamphlet is an effective additional instructional material in teaching junior high school students based on the answers of the students. So it shows that they can learn better when they use pamphlets rather than when they using module in studying their lessons. So for recommendation, the academic personnel and the institution may continue their program and interventions to acquire excellence in the students' academic performance. Instructors and professors may conduct programs to address the problems that students face in learning through module. Teachers may utilize pamphlets as an additional instructional material in teaching their lessons so that they can learn easier and better. Teachers can also develop learning modules that are not too difficult to comprehend so that students could learn effectively with the help of pamphlets. Researchers may undertake a study in the future to see how students gradually adapt new learning materials. So that is the results. Those are the results and the findings and conclusion and recommendation.
Thank you po. This is the action research of Team Labhigh. God bless everyone.